Hello, it's Jane. I'm back up at the plot on what is turning out to be the most beautiful August bank holiday weekend over here in the UK. I don't know if you can see, well, you can probably see the fact I'm squinting like this. The sun is beating down over from that direction and I feel a little bit overdressed. But because it is August bank holiday weekend, it seems to have just appeared from nowhere. And all of a sudden I'm thinking it's time to do an August tour. So what I'm going to do today, I think I mentioned this last time, I think I mentioned in the July tour, I didn't think there'd be that much difference between the July and the June tour. Well, what seems to have happened this time is I feel like quite a lot has gone on since the end of July and now it's all calmed down again. So I'm trying to think if there's anything for you to see, which is a really bad way of promoting this video. I realise that. Of course there's things for you to see. There's all sorts of interesting stuff coming up. But what I have got, and I'll come to it at the end, is I've got a little something going on over there that I'm not going to go into in too much detail this time. But yeah, I wanted to show you. So anyway, yeah, let's get back down to that greenhouse and just have a little look and see if anything's different at all. We've got the same old scene in here. We've got a few of our very few onions drying. We've got the elephant garlic still there. I can take that home now really. And we've got the chilies. The plants always look really sorry for themselves. I mean, they're sitting, that tub there is half full of water. But if you look at the amount of chilies we've got on this one, is this one the Cayenne Pepper? Look at that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave those chilies on the plant. Oh, can't reach. And just let them dry on the plant. If needs be, and it starts to get much, much colder, I'll take the plant out the pot and hang it upside down and dry them that way. But not in the shed, because I did that last year and forgot about them, they went mouldy. So I'm going to look after them this year, but there's certainly a fine crop of chilies on there. And then this side now, it's the end of our Marconi Peppers, which are meant to be Marconi red. But whether they're just not getting enough light, I don't know, but they're not going red at all. They're staying stubbornly green, even though I've taken some home and put them on a window ledge and stuck them under a banana. They're still staying green, so they're tasty nonetheless. But really, the main story in here, and what we're waiting for in another month, I reckon, is a fantastic grape harvest. So yeah, haven't thinned them out as much as I meant to, but still they're great. Oh, and on this side, I've got a bit of a terrible confession to make. I was having a good old clear out because the gooseberries and the currants have finished fruiting now, and we're waiting for the autumn flowering fruiting raspberries on this side, the polka. And we had, I don't know if you remember, we had still half of it there, a carpet down as just a temporary pathway where we were working on the sides. And I decided to get rid of the pathway just by pulling the carpet out. Pulled one half out, sort of tossed it asunder, if you like, at the side of the path. And all of a sudden I noticed what I thought were bees flying everywhere, and it turned out it was a wasp's nest. And they were fine, they didn't come and sting me or anything like that, but I felt so guilty. If I can take this off here, I'll show you. There we are. Don't worry, I'm not getting too close here, I've zoomed in. But this is half of the wasp's nest here. I don't know if you can hear them flying about. I don't want to scare them too much. And bless them, they were absolutely swarming all over it when it broke, so I stayed well away. But it's obviously dying off. There goes one in now, because there's only a few little waspies there now, and I think they're desperately trying to make it a reasonable nest again. But it's absolutely fascinating to watch from a distance. They're so busy. And what happened yesterday, oh, is that her there? From underneath, there just came what looked like an absolutely giant wasp. And it was obviously the queen. And she came up from underneath, so she's still in there. And so while she's there, the little worker wasps, I'm calling them worker wasps, I'm applying all the bee terminology I know to the wasps, could be completely different, but while she's there they won't desert her, you know, but I do feel ever so guilty. And I know we could move the nest and come along at night and cover it with something and put it somewhere safe, but you know, I feel like I've done them enough damage, so it might be that we get to our raspberries. But yeah, I'm just going to let them get on with their own thing. And this here, believe it or not, is the Dahlia bed. Can you see any dahlias? I can't. I know they went in late, but they were good, healthy, rooted plants. But yeah, you can see one or two. There's a bishop popping out behind there. And I have got a cafe au lait in there somewhere, which I'll show you in a minute. That's the one I've really been looking forward to. There's no sign of the Penhill watermelon, which I was looking forward to as well. The honker, we seem to get one or two at a time. But yeah, someone was saying it's not so much that they haven't had the warmth this year, not so much that they haven't had the water, but actually the hours of sunlight could be what is holding things back. So I'm hoping this weekend, you know, this sort of, if this nice sunny weather continues just for a couple more days, we might actually get to see a few of them open. But what has been a bit of a star of the show, although I don't know whether I'll do them again, are the gladiolus, which yes, are wilting now, but they've been spectacular. It's the first time I've ever grown them, and I got them because I think the packet of bulbs is reduced to £1 or something like that, and I just put them through quite sparsely just for a bit of fun. I think if I did do them again, I'd do them at the back of a border and I'd do them in a clump. But they really have been stars, but I don't know what to do with them now. They're looking a bit bedraggled. We've got the self-seeded cosmos that you saw last time, which really are starting to fill in. They are just a beautiful flower, aren't they? I know you can get lots of different colours, but yeah, for self-seeders, gorgeous. Just keep deadheading them and they will keep going forever. And the thyme has been cut back. Please excuse the tripod there. And the blueberries of shame. Yeah, definitely coming up this year. Here's our Bokashi experiment patch, which I will be coming back to in the next few weeks or so. But here are the 2 courgettes that survived over on this side, which have been really, really healthy. We've had so much from them, but they're just starting now to get the powdery mildew. So it might be about time to get the milk spray out. Just a very, very dilute mix of milk with water and give them a spray. But then I've just discovered something beyond the marjoram. We have a little look. These tomatoes were doing so well, and I've put pictures of them on Instagram and on Facebook and everything saying how well they're doing for outdoor tomatoes. But let's have a little look. Now, I was last up 2 days ago and there was no sign of anything. I don't want to get too near, but if I show you now, can you see on that one? Oh, that's the pole. Let's see, can you see there? Just how black that is. If I zoom in, let's see. Yeah. You can see the blight straight through the stem there, and what happens, as I've explained before, you can see the leaves above are dying off. I didn't notice on the leaves, but maybe I just wasn't really looking. But it comes on the leaves, it goes down the stems, and ultimately it goes into the tomatoes. And if we have a little look at some tomatoes over there, again, I don't want to get too near. Yeah, you can see that they're ripening with the blight in. So those tomatoes there, well, all of the blighted ones will just have to go somewhere and probably go on a bonfire. But I'm hoping, I don't know, it's one of those situations, isn't it? I'm hoping that the ones on this side will be okay, because I have got as well, pick you up again. See, we've got so many starting to ripen. Maybe it's just a case of taking them off and hoping they'll be okay. If you look at these leaves here look absolutely clean. But the others seem to a couple of days ago. But the ones I'm worried about, the ones I really want to save, because I've only tried a couple of ripe ones so far, are these blueberries, which don't look quite as vibrant today, partly because the sun's gone in, but also because they ripen up to an almost black colour. But you can tell when they're ready, because they start to go a little bit red on the other side. So as long as there's no green on there, they'll be ripe. And I want to collect a few of those for seed. So I might just take this out to be away from any blight before I even take the other blighted ones out, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, catches up with you in the end, doesn't it? Never mind, eh? The purple sprouting broccoli is doing beautifully, as are the marigolds, as is the self-seeded tree sorrel, which really has got to come out. I mean, that's about 7 foot tall now, it's crazy, but I've shown you before. Let me show you again. What's so lovely about it is the leaf axils here, this like pink, such a vibrant pink. It's like a dust. Very peculiar. It must serve a purpose somehow, but not sure what. But yeah, that's quite big. And then on the other side of the PSB, we've got the asparagus, which is all ferns now, so I'm just cutting those ferns occasionally and putting them in with flowers at home. And we've got some more outdoor tomatoes. Now this is where we had blight last year. Ah yeah, we've got it here again now. I was going to say there was no sign of it the other day. There we go. You see, can't you? So even if you're not sure, if you've got speckles on the leaves and you're not sure if they're blight or whether things are just dying off, look on the stem. Aye, aye, aye. Well, I didn't expect these to come to much, bless them. But yeah, it's always a... never mind. We've been very lucky so far. Beans have been okay this year. What we're finding is the French beans, the Cobra, we've had really, really good crops off both the dig side, so the trench side, and the no dig side. So they've pretty much finished now, but at the front we've got our Madeira Maroon off Paul Savadon, and in the middle here, just as the Cobra beans are finishing, we've got these gorgeous Cos Violet. Don't know if that's how you pronounce them. That's how I pronounce them because it feels posh. Okay, and they are really, really lovely. You can just eat them straight off the plant. And what I'm doing, I'm being so lazy this year, I'm just topping and tailing them, putting them in a bag, so flattening out the bag a little bit, bunging it straight in the freezer. But what I wouldn't do next year, and I know it looks pretty, and if you haven't got the space, it might be your only option, I'm not going to be doing them in teepees again, or wigwams, or whatever you call these things, because if you just look, they all get mixed up at the top. So which makes harvesting difficult because, you know, you pull one big one and all the little ones come off with it. So you can't pick and choose. And also I'm just not quite tall enough. So they're a bit of a tangled mess. I mean, they're still there, which is great, but I don't think we'll be doing it this way again. The camera can pick this up because it's right in the way of the sun. But you can see there, we've got quite a nice picking of Boulotti beans coming. So I'm really, really pleased with them. I've mentioned before, they're my favourite ever beans. And what I like to do is pick them. Let me show you, it's easier to show you, isn't it? Pick them when the pods are sort of that sort of colour, so they haven't dried out completely. There aren't any completely dried out yet, so I can't show you, but yes, there are. Look, okay. You know when your beans have dried because you can hear them rattling. Okay, so if you want to open those, you will find the most beautiful, beautiful coloured beans. Look at that. Can you see that? And what I would do with those, I'd leave them on the plant just to dry off completely, to be honest. But if you were to pick them like that, I'd just put them on some sort of tray or something at home for a few days to make sure they are dried completely. You'll know they're dry completely because you can put your thumb in, your thumbnail, a bit like a squash. Now you see that goes through. That tells me it's not dry, okay? So if it doesn't go through, it means it's dried properly. However, this is a beautiful way to have them, not the pods, but again, if you open them up, you'll see them fresh, and you'll see they haven't got the markings on yet, so you think, oh, they're not so good. But the taste in these are probably slightly too young. Let me show you. Slightly too young, starting to get the markings on. You can use those as fresh beans, and they are beautiful. Still give them a bit of a boil, but they are so, it sounds wrong if you're vegetarian. I'm not vegetarian, but they're quite meaty. There's a real texture to them and fullness of flavour, which is just gorgeous. So there's my Boulottis, but I'll put them in my pocket. Oh dear, things happen to things in my pockets. Let me just show you the same again with the Gigantes. Again, this is a bean that we've saved seed from year on year because these are such a treat. And again, I'll show you them compared to the Boulotti bean. Look at those, you've only got 2 beans in that pod. But let's get the fresh ones. Compare those. They're in my pocket. I told you things happened. Hold on, let's go for a circle. There we go. Look at the size of those, and that's why they're called Gigantes. And again, these are just beautiful. You can dry them in the same way. They take a lot longer to reconstitute, but they are absolutely gorgeous. Or start getting them, I think Vivi calls them demi-sec, partly dry, and have them what I would call fresh. So yeah, they're going in my pocket as well. I'm going to wash this top, aren't I, and have things sprouting out of my pocket. But yeah, so quite pleased with the bean harvest, especially after our bean disaster last year. I feel like we're actually getting somewhere. And the good old banana palms looking quite majestic. What I am quite pleased with now are the onions that we grew from seed. As I showed you in the greenhouse earlier, the onions we grew from sets just didn't really come to anything at all this year. But if you look at these ones from seed, I mean, that's quite a nice size, isn't it? You know, I think that's the biggest one, mind you. But yeah, we've got quite a nice little harvest of those coming in. And they've been interplanted with carrots as well. So yeah, it won't be too long and we'll be able to have a nice little onion harvest and maybe try stringing some. But yeah, after the disappointment of the sets onions, I think I would definitely do some from seed again next year. Another thing that's done really well is the beetroot. We've had quite a lot, but we really need to get on and start harvesting some of these because they were sown in modules and then planted out in modules. Can you see that? And they've actually grown now. I'm hoping they're not going to be too woody. What happens in the modules, I'm sure you know, you plant them. As the ones on the outside form, you pull those away and it just leaves the middle one, the central one, room to grow a bit bigger. So yeah, we need to start pulling those and find more recipes for them. Paul Savadant mentioned a lovely one over on the Planet Vegetaria Facebook page called Beet Bourguignon, which sounds gorgeous because if it involves red wine as well, what's not to like? But yeah, they've been great. Peas akimbo. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a top-heavy TP and the lettuce on the inside that were meant to be growing in the nice shade of the peas. Obviously, they've just gone to seed. Look at them. Crazy nonsense. But yeah, we're actually still cropping these peas. We're getting quite a lot of them, but they're just sprawling away now, doing their own thing, but tasty nonetheless. And as we go up to the top end of the plot here, oh, excuse my shadow, let's see if I can move the other side. If these leaves are anything to go by, we're going to have one of the best crops of parsnips I think we've ever had. And a lot of these were actually transplants. So it'll be very interesting to see what the roots are like. Because as with carrots and parsnips and anything that grows down like that, you're not really meant to transplant them, are you? Because you're not meant to disturb the roots so much. But we shall see. There could be all sorts of nonsense going on under that soil. But they're looking really, really healthy. So another great winter crop that we'll be able to harvest in the colder months. Sweet corn though has taken an age to get going this year, and as you can see, they're not the sturdiest looking plants, but if you look now, let's see if we can go in on this one. You know it's ready. Yeah, I've already had a little go at this one. Or has something else had a little go of it? Looks suspicious. You know it's ready when these fronds, hairs, bitty bobby bits go brown at the top. And then you can peel a bit back. Let me just see if you can see that properly. You peel a bit back and you'll be able to see the corn underneath. That might be almost ready, you know. And then again, pop a bit with your nail. If it's still watery, it's not ready, and that's not ready. If it's like a milky colour, that's when you know your sweet corn is ready to pick. So yeah, it won't be too long, and if this weather keeps up, we might have a couple of really fresh sweet corn straight from the plant onto our little stove, frying a tiny, tiny bit of butter. That'd be nice. And then there's this. I'm going to leave this as a teaser. What do you reckon? Put your answers in the comments below. What is going to happen to this space here? And again, after not looking so good to begin with, the plums are really starting to come now. Just got to watch out for the wasps. Oh, and it's a relief to see that so far the tomatoes in the polytunnel are untouched by blight, but it won't be long. So it's really, really good that we're going to have a nice couple of sunny days, because they need that light to get right. So there we go, that was August. And yes, I'm going to stop saying it's been a weird year. We all know that. And I think we've all adapted to it in one way or another. But yeah, it certainly seems, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't seem like we've had any particular huge harvest. Although saying that, the amount of tomatoes I'm about to go and cut down, yeah, that'll probably seem like quite a lot when I go in the house and we've got no kitchen worktop space free. But I'd rather get them down ripening at home where I know they're safe. And you can tell if they start to ripen and they're blighted, you'll see the little brown bits, and you know then that they won't ripen properly. I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you've got blight inside the tomato, the first you might see of it is when it hits the surface under the skin, and that will probably render the rest of the tomato inedible. What do you think? Can you cut that bit off? So I imagine if it's come through the stem, it's come through and it will have spread inside the tomato. It's a horrible thing, isn't it? And I wouldn't mind the ones that are affected in the outside tomato patch are the Crimson Crush. The first supposed blight resistant tomato. But I realise how lucky I am, because some people lost their tomatoes right at the beginning of the season, and at least we've managed to get a reasonable harvest so far. I mean, you know, I keep saying tomato sandwiches, tomato on toast, olive oil, tomato, bit of cheese, black pepper. Lovely, really lovely. But you know, I've pretty much had one of those a day for the last couple of weeks. I'm making the most of it. It's seasonal eating, you know. But yeah, so we've got blight, but we'll deal with it. But yeah, other than that, as I say, no sort of glut, more of a steady trickle. And I think things have taken such a long time to get going that steady trickle is really welcome. You know, we're still going to get more beans. I'm starting to fill the freezer already, like I say, with beans. I'll be doing it with fresh beans as well. We've hardly harvested any potatoes yet. I'm hoping they're okay, you know. They look okay. We've got all the brassicas in. I think for the first time this year, we've actually got quite a lot of winter vegetables sorted. So we've got our parsnips, got loads of carrots in. We've got all the brassicas. We've even got purple sprout and broccoli for next year, you know, for the hungry gap, sort of March, April time. So we're spreading our season out as much as we can as well. So yeah, which means you don't get so much of a chunk in one bit. Got loads of courgettes, mind you. But yeah, a couple of things to tell you. It's something to remind you of. By the time we come round to the September tour, and I can't believe, September's autumn, isn't it? I can't believe that we're going to be in autumn already. We will have had the Transatlantic Melon Challenge judging winners. I don't know, but because we've done the Transatlantic Melon Challenge, Jim and I were talking about getting everyone's pictures and everything together in time for the autumn equinox, so we can just have a look and see, you know, who's fared best, the US and partners or the UK and partners. And I know there's been a couple have come up on Facebook, a couple of pictures that just look pretty darn fine. So yeah, if you've got any pictures of your melons or your melon plants, or of you eating your melons, anything, you know, get over on the Facebook page or on the Instagram page and get them put up there with the hashtag Transatlantic Melon Challenge, because if we can get them all together, it's going to be quite a gallery, I think. I will do a video to sort of have a good look at them. So yeah, that's good fun. And the other thing, apart from the fact I'm back at the seating area where you saw us do the tomato tasting, which we love. We've had friends round, we've had candles on the table, it's just gorgeous. But the other thing over there, gave you a little teaser before as to what's going to happen in that spot. It was going to be my medicinal herbs area, changed again, changed my mind like I don't know what, but something has come up, something has been presented to us, an opportunity that we have been unable to resist. So have a little think. What's your guess? What's your guess? What do you think is going to go on over there? I'm dead excited about it. Well, you will find out. You will find out over the next week or two. I'm going to go. Yeah, that's it. That's August. I think there have been quite a few changes. By September, I'm hoping those dahlias will be open. But come and say hello on Facebook, in the Facebook group. Come and say hello on Instagram. Please subscribe. All the details are below. Now, when I say that, if you're watching on a laptop or a computer, where it says the title, Jane's Allotment or Tomato Tasting or Plot Tour or whatever it is, the words, if you look under there, it'll give you all the details as to what's in the video. If you haven't got them, I think if you're watching on a phone, you might just have the title and you haven't got any details below. Click on that title and the words should come up, and that will give you all my contact details, because I know a few people were struggling to see what I'd written. So have a little look at that. But have a lovely bank holiday weekend, back to school week, start to autumn, and just wherever you can, just sit back and look at your gardens and think how lucky we all are. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.